everyone. My name is AJ Franklin, and I'm here with the Build Art Break. Today, we have Monique Franklin, also known as Verbal Oasis. She is an artist, writer, poet, and performer for Rainier Valley, Seattle. Today, we're going to be asking her a couple of interview questions. The first interview question I'm going to be asking her today is, do you consider yourself an artist, and what art forms do you create / practice?
Yes, I definitely consider myself an artist. I think actually everyone is an artist in the way in which we engage with the world as very young people. And so art is a way that I figure things out. It's kind of like my meditation. And I have many, many art forms that I engage in and practice with. So I'm a jewelry artist. This is a necklace that I made. As a young person, I danced. That was probably the first art, and loved the art of music. And then I'm also a visual artist. So this is some of my drawings. But I think I'm most well known as a writer. So I am a poet and a playwright. And I actually have a play that's going to be um, released here in November. So I would say I'm a multidisciplinary artist, but most of my work in the last 10 years has been in poetry.
That's all good. Okay, so for the next one, the second interview question is, why do you make art?
So the reason why I make art in some cases is really because I don't really have a choice. Like sometimes art just comes out. So if I'm talking about like little bits of art, there are times where I could be listening to music and I just start dancing, and that little bit of art is just what I would call inspirational, impromptu art. And then there's the kind of art that I make in response to. So in response to something in my life, in response to something in the world. And those two kinds of in response to arts can be for my own development. So to think more deeply about something that's happened or something that is happening or a question I'm thinking about or trying to understand. So in my artistic practice, it helps me to look at that particular event or issue and better understand it or make comment on it. So for example, um, I have poems that are about motherhood, but I also have poems that are about racism, right? And part of why I make that art is for me to better understand, but a part of it is also to contribute to the understanding of other people in our society, so that when they experience my art, that perhaps we can move past those barriers, move past racism, or heal from racism from a community standpoint. So my art, I think, tries to create an opportunity for three things, which is building community, healing, and self-actualization. All those three things are what I'm trying to do when I make art.
Yeah, those are some great ideas on what to make making art. And the next question would be, what are the benefits of being creative, socially, mentally, or emotionally?
I think the benefits of being creative is socially is necessary because creativity is important um, to be able to envision things that don't exist, and that is super important when you're creating solutions for problem solving. So oftentimes when you have a problem, it's because no one has come up with a solution or been creative enough to figure out how do we solve this particular issue. So creativity, I think, helps you to become a superb problem solver at times. I think mentally, being deep in your creative modality, like, can also feel like for me a meditation. It actually pulls me out of this world into a more spiritual space um, that is really my own space and that is completely untouchable. And in that way, it is the space where I can feel free, and that is so important it's important to have that self-cultivated space, especially in a society where injustice is an everyday part of our lives. And so I think creativity really helps us to have a landscape mentally that is a free landscape where we can um, imagine and be safe and take chances. And I think emotionally being creative allows us an outlet. Um, Creativity can take any energy and turn it into something. And I think that's important uh, when we're feeling happy and joyous and we're celebrating. And I think it's also important when we're feeling angry and sad and being able to take those emotions and move them in a creative process that then leaves us in a better place than we were, and can also move other people in that place. So those would be the benefits, I think, to being creative.
Yeah, that all sounds really good. So for the next question, for people who don't necessarily identify as artists, what do you think creativity can do for them?
Yeah, I think unfortunately we live in a society that tells people that they're either a natural artist or they're not, and I think they do the same for sciences too. You're either good at math or you're not, and I think that um, I would encourage people to find the things that they do every day that involve creativity, but what it can do for them. I think that creativity can help them in their relationships. It can help them in their jobs. It can help them in understanding their relationship with themselves and to move forward ideas that they're having to relieve stress. So finding, understanding creativity in a way to realize that most likely you're already being creative, you just haven't identified it yet, um, is one piece. And then exploring it, being more intentional with your relationship with creativity, whether that's on a project at work. I think to be creative, we need a few virtues to go along with that. So you need courage to be creative. You need respect in order to respectfully create, whether that's the materials you use or the content that you're bringing into your creative arts, and the manner in which you deliver it. So I think that creativity can offer a space for you to develop yourself more fully as a human being, and just have an opportunity to grow.
Okay. So for the next and final question would be, what can art do for all of us as a community?
I think art is a great way for communities to have conversations. And I think first is the great way for communities to come together. Communities often have specific music, dance, and artwork that defines them. And sharing that across communities helps us to create a bigger community. So I think art as an opportunity to community build. I think it's an opportunity for people who may not have the same values to be in conversation and connection around a piece of art. A lot of art doesn't require language, right? So young people can understand or have feelings about a painting that they see, as well as our elders. People who speak different languages, right, can appreciate um, visual art, dance, movement. So I think there's a lot of times where art transcends the barriers that are between communities, um, and also can be really intentionally bring conversation up, move the dialogue, or propose solutions through art that can help evolve our society. So I think art is a vital part of any healthy society, in terms of the ability to create opportunities for conversation, create opportunities for education, and just create opportunities for people to come together and be creative and engage in art, not just in the watching of art, but participating as a community as well.
Yes, and I think those are all some really great answers. And that would be all the interview questions for Monique Franklin. from Build Art Break.
Thank you so much for having me today, AJ. I really enjoyed it.
You're welcome.